Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, members of Tithing Realm. Tithing, put in perspective. I'll start with my history of tithing. When I was 17 years old, and in 9th grade, world history, I was riding in the car with my family, working on my world history book, and the subject of tithes came up. And I turned to my parents, I said, Mama, Daddy, what's a tithe? And Mama said, son, a tithe is when you give 10% to the church that feeds you. She says, now, James Anthony, when you get older, you'll learn. You'll be able to pay your tithing to the church that feeds you. It's the right thing to do. Fast forward 14 years later, I was studying under missionaries of the Restored Church of Christ, and I learned once again about the importance of tithing. Now, in my early adulthood, and throughout my adulthood, I had received some distorted views of tithing. On the right, well, tithing is just something that the Lord tells you to pay, He puts in your heart. On the left, you're on disability. You shouldn't have to pay tithing. What's wrong with you? Well, before, I was on the right side. Probably due to results from my first marriage, but that's here and there. But I'll learn quickly. Now, has tithing always been easy for me to live out? No. But it's been worth it. Now, on this audio podcast, you folks have heard the theologian David A. Bednar give his perspective on paying tithing, the principles. I want to give my unique perspective, especially for kingdom entrepreneurs and fellow Toastmasters. Here's the thing. Malachi 3:10 says this, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And this next phrase, these next 4 words, have pierced my soul. Prove me now herewith. It's almost like he's testing us, testing me, daring me, saying, prove me now herewith. And then if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour out you a blessing. Pour out you a blessing that you shall not have room to receive it. Tithing. There are spiritual and temporal blessings from paying tithing. I believe that with all my heart. And like my solid Baptist mama, and like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I believe that tithing is 10% of your income. I stand by that principle. I live by that principle. And that's one thing I'm going to adjust next month with my wife, is it says 10% of our income, and start working on that. Especially as we approach our second wedding date in the temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Here's the thing. Tithing is both a temporal and spiritual principle. And in my belief, you can't separate the temporal from the spiritual. That's the thing. If you can take that, if you can grasp that, you know that it's yours for the taking. It's a unique perspective, because there's a lot of different views about tithing. some Christians say, well, tithing, that's Old Testament. We don't have to do that no more. And it's, there's a variety of perspectives worth a dime a dozen. But this principle, as I've seen it, as Mama taught me, and as I've grown in faith to receive, as I step into the field of Christian success consulting, that tithing brings strong temporal and spiritual blessings. Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Jimmy.